Jeff back with internationally known DJ Deadeye, aka Captain Celtic. What's going on, my guy?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Another day in the office.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here. Speaking about a day not in the office, did you watch the All-Star game? Were you stupid like me and got baited?
What did I watch? I watched like in spots. Pretty much the whole thing, but in spots.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I took the bait again. I thought, oh, man, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Tell myself that every year. There's three things.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, what do you expect? I expect crazy shots and crazy dunks. I don't expect defense. I don't expect much anything else. I think I was just kind of like, all right, it's just an All-Star game. No, I get why people wasn't feeling it though.
Yeah, it's just hard to really get into. Like, my thing is this: I saw a good quote on Twitter, and I wish I could give the person credit, but there was so much being posted. I don't remember who said it, but they said if you're going to play zero defense and like do anything on that, and at least do some crazy entertaining shots, right? So Dame did his thing, pulling up from half court, and stuff like that. But I felt
Dame,
like just
Tatum, Spider Mitchell, they were all shooting from deep.
Yeah, and watching Tatum do his thing and watching Tatum get busy
LeBron shot
was dope. But I just, it's just hard to put, like, I know he got 50, but it's like, man, it's hard to look at that game and take it serious. So it's like, but I was just watching last night. I mean, it was like the first quarter, and I saw like the first probably like 5 to 10 buckets, and I was just like, God, this is just ridiculous. It's like calling it a layup line was almost disrespectful because dudes are even like faking like they're gonna block shots in the layup line. You know what I mean? Joking around. Yeah. It was just like, and then LeBron tries.
LeBron blocked him.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He was like, you're looking like R. Kelly in the fur coat, but he was he said like, I got something for that next time. Like he was really tight about that. But no, I mean they've got to come up with something to. I mean the dunk contest
because back in the day. If you watch some of those All-Star games, it's more competitive, and there was less, not at stake in terms of the money, but these guys are playing for charity.
Yeah, charity.
For charity, they're for pride and shit too, right? But I think a lot of it is dictated by, especially this one, because like 2 years ago, people were like, "Oh, the All-Star game's amazing. Oh, it's back," and it's like, what happens now? People hate it. Now people want to get rid of it. Like, what changed in 2 years? I'll tell you what changed. You got old guys that are on their way out that aren't gonna play the illest defense, that are still getting the high votes and the high praise in the voting and stuff, right? You know, a bunch of these old guys, right? And then you got a bunch of new guys who never been there, kind of just doing what the older guys are doing, like they're like, oh, we never been here. These guys, this is what you're supposed to do. Ole, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just was on.
And like, the guys that have been there multiple times or a few times are on some competitive shit. Tatum, Spider, fucking even Morant, when he was in there, he was trying to do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's all dictated by the old guys, man. And the young guys not knowing what to do besides take what the old guys are teaching them, and basically they're teaching them the slack. So.
Yeah, no, I was dope to seeing. Someone said you're early was good, brothers. I'm not sure who this is because Facebook doesn't show us the name, so appreciate you tuning in. It was good here. Basically, just mirrored what you said. It was good the past 2 years prior. This one kind of stalled. Yeah, I liked seeing Tatum and JB go at it. Brown, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was fire. That was fire.
That was dope, and especially because they were both cooking buckets, but Jalen ripped them. It was. That was good to see. So somebody like the first timers, that's always good to see. But it was just really hard, like to watch. It was just like, okay, this is like, do something. They got to come up with something. And the fact that it took a G leaguer to save the dunk contest is crazy. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, Paul Pierce said that shit like 2 years ago. He was like, yo, you got to get the professional dunkers in here to save the shit or to make it competitive. And then that's what they did. They went and got some outsider, and now it's popping again. You know what I'm saying? But they should do YouTube versus NBA, and it could be any NBA. It could be G Leaguers. It could be whatever, and that's what it should be. The same thing.
I just think it's bullshit that Bron has never done a dunk contest. Like, I think it's bullshit. And I know he's trying to probably, he doesn't want to go out there and but talk about ever. It's 20 years in. He didn't do this year 1 through 5, 1 through 10. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's been too busy trying to protect that brand, you know?
Yeah, nah, for sure. He definitely.
So it's like that's the only thing. All the greats, for the most part, that were like wings and guards. I understand like why the Shaqs, you know, Karina, like those dudes. When I'm talking about the dudes who have some of the greatest in-game dunks we've ever seen, have pretty much all done it or attempted it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like at least once. So like the fact that he never did it. I'm not
a huge Bron dunker either. Like Bron's dope at dunking, but he like, I don't know. He reminds me of like Carmelo dunks a little bit, like power.
But if he wanted to, like he could come up with something. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I think it would probably be one of the most viewed ones ever, just to see him if he messes up. You know what I mean? So it's like most people watch LeBron not because they love him, because they hate him. You know what I mean? So like to watch him and hope that he just loses, people would tune into that. But when you got Julius Randle in the 3-point contest,
that's why he would never do it. That's why he would never be in the dunk
contest. I know.
Because he's too afraid of losing. That's why a lot of these guys don't do it. The big name guys, that's why they don't do it. Because they're like, oh damn, I don't want to be the nigga who fucking dunked it with the stupid envelope on the net. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? Or the guy years ago. How about that guy years ago when they did it in wherever it was where niggas had the airplanes and shit, and he tried to do the airplane thing on the shit. Remember that? And it was all wood. That shit was horrendous. Yeah, they don't want to be those guys. Crazy.
I'm trying to think what was
they don't want to be homie who did the layup, Armstrong or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't want to end up like these guys, dog.
Like what was the last great one? Was it
dunk contest?
Yeah, was it the one? It was probably the one that what Gordon and Levine was probably maybe the best.
But Gordon and what's the name? When he got robbed again, what was the one? The second one? Because Levine only did it once, no?
God, I thought they did twice. Gordon got robbed a couple times, I felt.
He got robbed twice. Yeah. Even though Zach was doing these crazy ass dunks like effortlessly. That's why he won them shits.
Yeah, but
he was doing nuts. But Gordon was doing like out of this earth shit. But the smoothness of Zach in that dunk contest, that's what took him over the top. Like he was doing like around the back, like windmill, like nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get like when was it like? When was it
the last Gordon one? Who the fuck he played it? Who the hell he was in the dunk contest?
That was him and Levine multiple times. I thought.
Nah, I thought it was just once.
But it was I know the one that was back.
Maybe it was.
I know when Nate and let me look. Nate and Dwight were going back and forth like a few years too.
That was cool, but niggas know what it was with that shit. All right, let's see.
Let me look here.
Winners.
Yeah, because Gordon, I could have swore that Gordon.
Obi topping.
Yeah, I could have swore that Gordon and Levine faced off more than once, and that was probably like 5-6 some years ago, maybe somewhere in that time frame. But it was like I could have swore they went at it more than once, but it just it hasn't really. I can't remember like that's before. You could sit back and just talk about all these multiple ones of just year after year after year of dudes that were doing it, and it was like, oh, that was dope, that was dope, that was dope, and then it was like, then it's just like you go by and you just forget years. Like I can't remember probably. I think since Gordon Levine, I really can't remember many of the dunk contests because they've just been so subpar, and it's just not the same. But I'm pretty sure they battled more than once because I know Gordon. I remember thinking like Gordon got robbed back-to-back years. Wasn't that the one that Dwayne Wade like scored him like?
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade had like a super suspect score. So it's like, let me see here real quick. Because let me see. Let me see.
It just says winners. It doesn't say like the.
Yeah, it's Aaron losing dunk contest. Let me see. I do remember it was let me see here.
Give me this shit, got it.
All of a sudden the internet wants to be uninformative. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that they let me see. They just keep showing like him like Derrick Jones Jr. That's who it was.
Yes.
Remember Derrick Jones?
He should have won that one too.
Yeah, so it was Eric.
But that was a good one. That was a good dunk contest. That was a couple years ago. The Obi Toppin one was whack. I remember that.
Yeah. But it was, that's what it was. It was the Derrick Jones Jr. I remember because I remember it being like a name like that he didn't really play a lot. He started playing more after that. He's been in the league longer than I thought he would.
And then Anthony Simmons. So 2020 was the last good one to me. I don't remember the Anthony Simmons.
Yeah, so my mind is going like blank with these things because it's just like they're just not good, So, but anyway,
the Derrick Jones Jr. one was really good. I remember that one being good. And Anthony Simmons, I feel like that one was good too. But the Obi Toppin one, I remember being whack.
Yeah, so I don't know what I guess maybe that's what they do then.
Donovan Mitchell won that shit.
Oh, Donovan, yeah. I mean, he's a better dunker than people give him credit for. Like I know they called him like the kind of like the Wayne Wade below the rim kind of like finishing touch, but he could bang on you if he gets a
for sure.
If he gets
he reminds me of like
and not to say that Wade can't finish above the rim. I'm just saying,
like a fast break dunker, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, Mitchell's solid, but yeah, I don't know. So I don't know if it's I just for me, I don't know if it's just the way. Maybe I'm trapped in the '90s, early 2000s, whatever it is. But for me, it was always like like NBA dunk contests should have NBA players in it. You know what I mean? But if we've got to reach outside the NBA just for entertainment factor, then I think it's a problem they got to work on. But in the meantime, they got to do what they got to do, right? But I mean, Shay, what does Shay say? Like, money talks. You know what I mean? They're like, the money talks. If you want these games to be competitive and you want guys risking something, you got to put that bread up. So,
that's a fact.
Yeah, so he basically said that. So, but all right, but that's probably spending more time than we need to spend on that, game that a lot of people, didn't seem to be too happy with. But speaking of unhappy,
I think people like the dunk contest. The 3-point contest I thought was cool. But yeah, I feel like they need one more thing to make it like ill.
Yeah, they gotta do something within NBA circles to get it good because they got.
I don't think changing the game is really the thing, and I don't think or getting rid of the game, or I think they just need to add one more activity and it's fine. Like,
well, I mean, if you nail Saturday night and then Sunday can be kind of the showcase, get out there, do some cool shit, and keep it pushing, and get on the rest of your vacation for the NBA players. I think that's fine as long as Saturday night becomes fire. You know what I mean? Like talking from the tip off to the end, like every event Saturday night, if that's fire, then I think you can get away with a game like we had on Sunday. But if it's just like, okay, 3-point and, Rising Stars and, skill challenge dunk contest, cool. I don't think it's enough. I think they got to do more. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they need another event, something.
Yeah, they need to do something.
They should involve the WNBA, to be honest.
Something like, yeah, I mean, if they're gonna do something, give them the platform, right? So if their event isn't big enough, then maybe give them the platform.
It's an NBA product.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I'm sure some would, but I wouldn't. But anyway,
they should do a women's all-star game or some shit.
No, they should definitely pick up the platform more than they do.
They do it though, right? They have an all-star game, right?
They do. They've got their own, but it's just like I said, it's not on the NBA level. So I think that's actually a good point. Yeah, if they I think because their seasons are at different times, so it's like there is no WNBA season right now. So I don't know how they would do something, but it's still something to shine light on, right?
Something, maybe a G League, something. I don't know, something.
No, I got you. But
you know what they should do? You know how they talking about doing that in-season tournament?
Yeah, they like do that for WNBA. Right? Have something, yeah.
Right. So this is what they should do. This is just the idea I just thought of, man, random. And then we'll get to what we're talking about. But they should do a tournament during All-Star Weekend of the real shitty teams. And whoever wins that tournament gets like better odds to get the number 1 pick.
Oh, so make them play for like the lottery pick?
Like an NIT of like 6 teams, 6 of the bottom squads.
That's actually not too bad because they tank and it doesn't serve their purpose. So if you sit a guy out this whole time, and then they kind of got to play for that better odds or just the overall pick. Like you mean to tell me like if you gave like how many teams make the lottery? It's like 14 teams or so make the lottery.
Yeah, like 14.
Something like that, right? So if you say okay,
but that's after the season, you know what the 14 are. You know,
you know what I'm saying. But it's like okay, whoever wins this tournament gets the number one pick. Like dudes would be out there.
I feel like if they had an idea of like what if teams could be eliminated by now. You know what I'm saying? Like 6 teams or 5 teams or something. Then they could, you know what I mean? Then they could put those teams because they know they're not going nowhere or they're not moving up. You know what I mean?
But I feel there's like a pro to every con there, right? Because let's say the number one pick is this potential like superstar point guard coming out of college. How well do you think that your point guard is going to play? You know what I mean? Knowing that if he wins that they're going to draft this kid and basically take your spot. So I mean, like this, it's hard to like. For every like pro, there's a con. You
can put incentives in there. You could put incentives in those situations.
Yeah. I'm just saying, there's always going to be something. You know what I mean?
Like win now, win money now type shit. Like you win this tournament, you get this much bread right now in your contract, no matter if you're here or not next year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I see what's wrong with that.
Some shit like that, like 500 extra 500K or $2 million or something for. Winning the mid-season tank tournament, whatever the hell you want to call
tank tournament. Yeah, because imagine like a dude is making the minimum. A dude is making the minimum and he plays out. He goes to just balls out in that game and gets $2 million. Basically, he's getting what he gets for the whole season for like one tournament. Yeah,
and then he could be out and not even worry about some rookie who's coming and taking his job because he just made $2 million more than the rookie's gonna make anyway.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Something, you know what I mean? I feel like that would spark some things up. They should have me in the damn meetings, yo.
and I think the way the pay goes is they get taxed depending on the city they're playing in. So put that shit somewhere without the federal income tax and just or without the state income tax, so they get more money. Yep. Like do that shit somewhere in like like Texas or Florida or something that doesn't have those
New
like
Hampshire, even though
they get to keep more of that money. You know what I mean? And none of it goes to the agent or something like that. You know?
I feel like that would be ill. If they figured out a way to like, all right, if they shorten the season a little bit, say they make it 72 games instead, then you would know earlier teams who are like pretty much done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you would know probably by now because there's only 23 games left. You know what I'm saying?
People keep saying the second half, like the second half is long gone. It's like the final third. Like,
yeah, LeBron's like, yo, this is the most important 23 games of my career. I was
you know it's crazy because it like people he says some wild shit and he gets dramatic and he says like, but I think he's right about this because he doesn't want to miss the playoffs back-to-back years. You know what I mean? And he doesn't want to. So I think that's actually somewhat accurate. I think he's serious about that because I know Bron will say some wild stuff.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think it's the most important 23 games of his career, but I understand what he's meaning. He don't want to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. But yo,
the regular season, I can't think of too many important regular season games for him. You know what I mean? So because he's either so far ahead or didn't care about seeding. I don't think he's ever had this stretch of games that were this important.
I also know that he's like, yo, I don't want the only time I make the playoffs here in LA is when motherfuckers got the bubble.
Yeah, because they keep holding that over his head. You know what I mean?
He don't want it to be just that. Make the playoffs, like not even contend. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we want nothing more than to shut up these bubble bashers. This shit is so crazy. But
yeah, it's bad. I mean, even for some of these teams that did good in the bubble, it hasn't been peaches and cream after either. Not just y'all.
No, it was
Denver, a bunch of squads. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, everyone came off a tough year. Period. You know what I mean? But forget the NBA.
That shit was like 3 years.
Yeah, it was tough, man. Like whoever won that. But I remember seeing people celebrating their teams making like second round or conference finals and stuff like that. You can't do that and then dog the team that won it. You know what I mean? But anyways, we're not gonna go past that. But anyways, let's get to this Westbrook situation because I think it's there's people who are saying that this could change the tide of a championship. I don't know if I don't believe that, but there are people saying all kinds of stuff about this. So what I want to say is I just want to say something real quick, and then you can have your part, and then I'll come back with mine. First thing I will say is I am happy for Russ that he gets to stay in LA with his family. Like I am happy for the man because he does a lot of great community work here, and I think that doesn't get spoken on enough. He does a lot of stuff. and he does it without it being publicized, without it being public, like anonymous and all like that. Like he does a lot. Let's just say not just LA. He's done in every city he's been. He still continues to do for OKC. He does. He's done a lot of good here off the court, and I just want to give him his flowers for that. Having said that, it was no doubt he was a notoriously horrible fit here. It's not entirely his fault, but he doesn't escape blame either. You know what I mean? So, having said that, I am happy that he did get to stay, in LA because he's been wanting to come back here for a while. But I'm interested now to see how he fits with the Clippers. And I want to say, well, what are your thoughts on him choosing to go to the Clippers?
I thought that was pretty much the option. I think I said it on the last podcast he was on. I mean, we had those other options and we thought that he should.
We lost you for a second. Yeah, you got lost there for a second. All right, let me 1 second here. All right, so I guess I'll do my part right now. Wait for Deadeye to get back in here. So with Russ choosing the Clippers, I know it came down to him choosing potentially Miami, Chicago, Washington, and the Clippers, and who knows if there were any other teams, in on him. I don't know for sure, but I feel like he probably would have got more minutes, obviously, in Washington and Chicago, and the Heat. I don't know how many minutes he was going to get. It might have been similar to what the Clippers and Utah were saying initially. Now I don't know if he wanted to go to the Clippers the entire time and then was kind of leveraging the other team, so the Clippers would offer him a starting slot. I don't know that, but I do know that him deciding to go to the Clippers, he does want to stay here in LA. Maybe there's a revenge factor. I don't know. And it was the team for sure that gave him the best shot to win this year. I don't know if you're considering that to be, obviously Chicago didn't have everything. I don't know. I guess it comes on how much stake you got with Miami. But I don't believe that. I don't think that Miami. Obviously it's a title contender. But he seems to have chosen a team that seems like they're promising him some type of a starting job, and it's the best team record-wise for championship in his mind. So, I know you got cut off there, Deadeye. So I kind of just held it down for a second while you got back in here. I
think he could do his thing in LA. He just all he gotta do is put the other dudes on the team in positions to win, because he's surrounded by ballers. He don't have like many whack players on his team, so he don't got to do like much. All he got to do is bring the ball up and do what he do, going to the hole and rebounding and pass the ball, bro. Don't try no jumpers. Leave the jumpers to Paul George and Kawhi. You got two of the best on your squad. Just give it to them.
On a perfect world, that's what you'd like to see, right, as a basketball fan. But Russ,
even off the bench, bro. I was watching them the other day against somebody, and they was killing them. Powell was murdering dudes.
Powell's been on a heater.
They got, who's the other guy off the bench they had?
Powell has been just a certified bucket getter for probably the last 4 to 5 weeks. He's been on a just straight heater, man.
Yo, he was killing whoever the hell they
should have signed with the Bulls. Yeah, I thought the Bulls. Like I said, I thought the Bulls were a possibility, but it looks like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he was using them as leverage to try to get the Clippers to offer him a starting slot. But the Bulls got Pat Bev today. They got the hometown kid.
Pat Bev.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. But
I think with the Russ thing, I think it just so happens that he plays that position. That another reason why they went for him. You know what I'm saying? Like if he played another position, like if he was a wing, they probably wouldn't go.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. See,
the fact that they traded both of their point guards, it kind of like leaves the fucking door wide open for this guy.
Well, they got Gordon, who's been running the second unit. He had like 7 assists his last game off the bench, and then they got Highland, who was wanting minutes.
Man is doing a good job. Man is doing a good job, even though he's a 2.
Yeah, Man has been playing good. Yeah. So this is the good point right here. BZ says he might mess with the chemistry of the Clippers. And here's my thing. So being out here, it seems like most of the times, I know we've talked about this before, the Clippers are so obsessed with sticking it to the Lakers that almost every move they make is based off that. So the revenge factor and them wanting to get Russ and make it work just to kind of rub it in the Lakers' face is almost like their championship more than winning one. You get what I mean? And it's like I don't understand why they're so like because me I don't grasp it. Like they're a good team.
I also think it'll work for Russ because the Clippers aren't the talk of the town. They're the second story, so he's not going to be everything he does be scrutinized like how he was on the Lakers.
No, I get it, but they thought this with Rondo, right? And look what happened. You know what I mean? So, excuse me. My thing is this, and stay with me for a second on this. Like, it's funny thing is Russ is a better fit for this Laker team that we currently have now. The problem is we don't get this roster unless we trade Russ for it because of the amount of money he's making, right? But if we had this type of roster, Russ would have been a much better fit, but we didn't. So we had to move him in order to get these pieces to get this roster. So having said that, the Clippers have that roster over there that could work with it. My thing has never been about the fit with Russ was never necessarily about the skill. It was about the mentality. Like him just completely like just refusing to bow to anyone. You know what I mean? Like, so, and we got to see if that is going to happen in here too. So if he's going to go in there, especially promising him a starting,
he knows what's up on that squad, bro. There's some alpha dogs over there. No doubt he could be his own type of doofus in the locker room, but
that's where the chemistry
he's surrounded by good players. When he was on the Lakers, he had like 2 great players and then like a bunch of whatevers. So he felt like, oh, I'm the man here too, you know? Over there, he's surrounded by good players that are gonna play better than him, like no matter what, in his face.
Well, the story was when they had their little mini camp last year.
You don't gotta change nothing. Just don't take no jumpers.
Well, his turnovers are crazy. His turnovers are crazy because he tries to force things. So my thing is, if you're going to try to force the ball, that's the thing. It wasn't all just about him being selfish, taking shots. It was him trying to make passes to people that just weren't great angles. He was leaving his feet to pass. Like he was trying no looks, and there was no one there, at any point, let alone when he wasn't looking. So
I don't think that it'll be a seamless transition, but I think it could work better than some of those other places. Even though he would have been able to just do his thing, say like in what was one of the teams somebody was mentioning him at? Was it Wizards?
What, that he could have gone to or that he was on?
Yeah. No, that he could have.
Yeah, could have. Washington, Chicago, Miami, Clippers, I think were the teams that were pretty much linked to him. Like I said, I don't know how.
Chicago. I think Chicago would have been a problem.
They're not really playing for anything over there. So I think people are saying he's not prioritizing winning. Well, I think he chose the Clippers, one, because he still wants to stay in LA, and they were the best chance of him for a title for the teams that he could sign with, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. So my thing for him is again, if it doesn't work out and they take him out the starting lineup and he starts, that whether that comment was a little too much or going too far, that vampire in the locker room thing came from someone. You know what I mean? And it's like someone doesn't say something like that, unless it was something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So it's like, it doesn't mean the whole team hated him. It could have just been, I don't know if that was a player. I don't know if that was a front office person. I don't know if that was someone on the coaching staff. I have no idea. You know what I mean?
They also got Lou in the locker room too. And he's gonna play a big factor in that shit working, or at least being a little bit better than the Lakers.
Well, that's my next point, because I kind of disagree with that, because I think one of the best things Russ had going for him is how much him and Darvin Ham bonded and connected. Darvin Ham got him to buy in coming off the bench. Darvin Ham got him to buy in. I think they found a true trust and relationship there. They got into it that last game, but it had less to do with Darvin and Russ than it did with other nonsense. But
him not being in the game at the end of shit.
Yeah, but my thing is Ty Lue is not going to give him. He's not going to try to build that with him. Ty Lue's going to get the F out of here. I got to do like, no, we're not. You're a guest here. We're not building around you thing. Whereas Darvin Ham's responsibility was to coach him up to get traded, make him tradable again. And he did his job there. Darvin Ham's messed up a lot of other areas here, but I feel he did his job, and maybe that was his only required job this year. but he did his job, which was to get Russ for what would be 2 unprotected first round picks, as far as his price, to 1 protected first round pick and get value back in players. So I feel Darvin Ham did his job from that perspective. Now I don't see Ty Lue or anyone on the Clippers side doing that for Russ over there. I just don't.
Yeah, so I don't see the leash being mad long with Lue. What I'm seeing is he's gonna be like, yo, this is what we need you to do. And that's it. Like, if you don't do it, then like you're not gonna play. Like, you feel me?
No, I know. You can't just have him sitting on your bench.
It's not like they signed him long term, bro. They could sit on. He'll sit on the fucking bench for the next 2 months and then be out.
Yeah, because my thing is, if he acts up, it's bad for him. Yeah, because he won't get another contract.
For Russ. It's bad for Russ. So what's Russ gonna do? Play ball. Feel me?
Well, you liked it. I've never seen Russ, and this is before he was a Laker. Like before he's been like, it's kind of probably what got him into the league, right? It's probably what made him great. It's probably what made him a Hall of Famer. Is that? But it's what's not going to make him a winner. And maybe I'm wrong on this, but he just refused to change anything about himself. You know what I mean?
For sure. And all he got to do is go rebound, bring the ball up, low turnovers, go to the basket. The end. That's really all he got to do.
I think he can do almost all of that, except the low turnovers will be a problem, and going to the basket is almost where he gets himself in trouble because he can't finish layups and he throws the ball away too much. Now, part of that could be he was just trying to be too good in LA, trying to be too good on the Lakers.
That's what I'm saying. He's in the locker room. He's looking around. He's like, I'm the 3rd best player here. Not when he's in that locker room. You feel me? Even Norman Powell look him straight in the face and be like, bro, like,
No, so like I said, there's a story that came out that right in their mini camp, right before the season started last year, and it's where they had everyone there, and the vibes were all good, the bond was good, Braun was everywhere with Russ, trying to, just sprinkle Braun all over him and just get him to buy in, like he was forever. He was all over Braun's IG, right? And they said the first play, like Vogel's like, whoever gets the ball, we got Braun, we got AD, we got Russ. Anyone could push the rock, da-da-da. And they said that Russ was like, no, get that shit the fuck out of here. I'm the point guard. Give me the ball. Get out the way. Like that he like said that. Like on the first possession, this was in print. Like that he said that on the first possession of a mini camp. Like literally deflated the air out of the balloon immediately. Nah, fuck what they talking about. I'm the point guard. Give me the ball. Get out the way. So that is the one. That is the one that from when we heard that, it's like, oh,
got to think of the timing. That's when he first got there, before all the shitstorm that hit him for fucking 2 years or whatever it was when he was there. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like this go around is gonna be a lot more humbler and a lot more trying to do good, so he gets an actual contract next year from somebody.
They said, Jeff and DJ, what are your thoughts on the Laker trade? Well, I think that's the result of what's happening right now.
I think that was a great trade for the Lakers. I just don't know if it's if there's enough time or if the injuries are gonna hold off.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. There's been 3 games they played, 2 were without Braun. So I
like the trades though. I like the trades. I like the aggressiveness of the front office, knowing that this is it. After this, it's going to be a long slide until you get some shit.
Yeah, I like the patience and the aggressiveness. It's both the patience to wait for the price to drop, and then the aggression to strike and get everything that they got for him. And I also like so Beasley didn't have a very good first game. The second game he kind of started heating up, but his shot, like his last game and a half, he found like we get all these guys who come from other places who can shoot, and they get here and they just can't shoot for shit. And now so Beasley, he looked pretty good the last game and a half. Bamba,
I like him. I like him. Vanderbilt. I like for defense. And who's the other guy you guys got?
D'Lo,
he's nice. Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah, he had 2 back-to-back pull-up threes or pretty much daggers in that Pelicans game.
2 20-point games, 20-point.
So I love the trade because it gave us a roster. You know what I mean? We for considering what we had to move and what we got, that was a grand slam to me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it leaves us with flexibility both, in the offseason and beyond. So it was a home run. Like there's no way I think everyone came out and basically said like, oh shit, the Lakers did. I mean, not just this trade, getting Rui, then this trade, and then the Bamba trade.
I like the Rui trade too.
Yeah, the Bamba. So it was like I think they did everything right.
Bamba's
he had three blocks
but in his first game. But you know what though? He's whatever, but next to AD, yes, you know what I'm saying? He's
a stretch 5. He could do everything he could do everything that Thomas Bryant couldn't do. Not saying scoring wise, but he can move better. He can hit the 3 like Bryant did. He can rebound and defend. But Bryant was very, very good offensively, but gave you nothing else. But so Bamba was a solid pickup there. So I think that trade and what they made them, if they get into a playoffs, people won't want to play them now. Whereas before they'd be like, well, just sag off Russ and let him shoot. You know what I mean? I think the Clippers are going to run into that now. And that's what his next point is, that, saying that that Westbrook kills momentum because he,
it depends,
he does.
He does kill momentum in the half court.
But he definitely pushes pace.
He pushes pace. Now the Clippers, I think, are a more half-court oriented team though, until the second unit comes in. When the second unit comes in, it's run and gun. Well, their starters are like half-court based guys per se. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays in their career, Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah, they've struggled like offensively.
Zubac's be killing them, yo.
Well, but he can be inconsistent though. Like he has monster games. I mean, he had like a 30-20 game like a few weeks back, and he followed it up with like next to nothing. But it's just like he can be inconsistent. But it's like where the Clippers have been very good. They've gotten much better defensively. So like for them, they've pretty much always been good defensively when they're healthy. They've always been able to shoot the 3 well when healthy. But they're they're 20th in field goal percentage, but they're 7th in 3-point percentage. And 2-point percentages are not that great. So their threes, if they're hitting their threes and their defense is good enough, like they're going to beat you. If you can stop them from shooting threes and you can push pace on them offensively, then you can beat them. It's pretty much is how you beat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and then what they do is when it comes to, so what it is they're 7th in the league in shooting the 3, but they're 19th in the league in defending the 3. So they don't defend the 3 very well. So if you beat them at their own game, which being 19th guarding the 3. So that's one thing about the Lakers that I do like is I believe in this. Like it's like if I know I can't shoot it, then I better not let you shoot it with freedom. You know what I mean? You better. I need to bring you down to the mud with me and get you dirty in these percentages like I am. So the good thing about the Lakers, they may only shoot 33%, but their opponent only shoots 34%. You get what I mean? So to them, that's why when everyone talks about the Lakers and the shooting, and then when you get to the playoffs, the half court and all that. So I'm not really too worried, especially now that their shooting has improved. I've never been too worried about their shooting because they're one of the best in the league at guarding the 3. So if you can't shoot it, you better be able to lock it down. Well, the Clippers can shoot it, but they can't lock it down. You get what I mean? So the holes in the Clippers are there. It's just, but they're very talented 1 through 12. Like they've got that. There's no breaks coming off that bench. Someone goes out. Now, granted, if their superstar, quote unquote, that they're labeled are hurt, then yeah, it changes everything. That Clipper team as it's built, even without PG or Kawhi, can get to the playoffs. They can't get too far in the playoffs, but they can get to the playoffs just off their secondary players. But in the playoffs, your stars win you playoff games. So this team is built. That's what's weird about this. They build this team to get them through the season while Kawhi and PG load manage. They don't really get that chemistry there. Then they show up, and if they're not really in any type of rhythm. And now you add Westbrook to that. So that's what's going to be really interesting is seeing how that really translates, because you've already got guys who are in and out of the lineup, and now you're adding Russ along with these other guys that you traded for. It's almost like the Lakers. There's a whole new group of guys there with 20-something games left. So when people talk about trying to see if the Lakers can make it fit in 23 games, Clippers got to do that too. So does Phoenix.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's
Phoenix for sure.
That's what's going to be interesting. And Phoenix, I really, really like the Terrence Ross pickup for them. Because he's a good, he can defend, he can shoot.
And they had no bench.
Yeah, they got no bench. So like, Pat Bev would have been great there if it wasn't for the fact that he hates Chris Paul. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm surprised Pat Bev went to Chicago. Like not that. I'm not surprised that he went to Chicago. That he went home. I'm surprised that that contenders really didn't try to get him. Like I felt like Milwaukee, Dallas, Miami, maybe even the Warriors. I thought that I thought they'd be on him a little bit more, but he chose to go to a team that's now. I don't know if they just weren't on him or he just wanted to go home for the next couple of weeks. I don't know what it is, but it's it was interesting with that. But Phoenix is still out. They've still got to, we were talking about this buyout market and how great it's going to be, and there hasn't been a ton of movement yet. Kevin Love going to Miami. I don't know how much of an impact that is.
After the All-Star and
so I don't know.
Open up a little bit.
I don't know which version of Kevin Love Miami's going to get, but they're getting a veteran for sure. So
he'll play just because they got to dispel some of Bam's minutes, I'm sure.
But yeah, so I think the Clippers and Lakers are. It's funny because they're both now, Russ with the Lakers for the first 2/3 of the season, Russ with the Clippers the final third of the season. Yeah. The Clippers now face the same struggle that the Lakers faced, and that's you're going to go as far as the fit with Russ gets you now, because
but he's not going to play a big role. Like is what I'm saying. He's gonna play a role, but not a significant enough one to sink the ship. I don't believe.
I don't know, man.
Because they have Lou, they have Kawhi, they have these guys that been there and know what's up. So I feel like this nigga will just shut the fuck up and get in line. Just because he's trying to play for a contract next year. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's definitely gonna have to take a pay cut because nobody's gonna pay him that bread. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a lot of firsts for Russ next year.
Well, just the way he's positioning himself to not go to a team where he most likely would come off the bench is signaling that he's trying to up his value for next year, right? So it's which I get, but when
he's
you're coming
off the bench, though.
No, that from reports there is that they promised him to start. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe start some games, but he's gonna when he comes in, he's coming off the bench.
The reports were that he chose the Clippers because they committed to start him.
I heard that's the same reports, but I also heard that he's gonna come off the bench the first however many games, and then maybe he'll have some starts before the end of the season to see how it goes.
Okay,
but I feel like Man got that role already. He's a better player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my thing is, why would they damage the relationship with him for Russ? You know what I mean? And his teammates actively campaigning for him. Like Paul George, Marcus Moore. Kawhi doesn't say anything. There wasn't anything about him out there about that. But Paul George was loud.
Except the laugh, right?
Yeah. hold on. Let me where's that at? There we go. Yeah. So it was. He just maybe he had. I don't believe the Clippers make this signing without his blessing. But that's just me. I mean,
I feel like it was Paul George and Morris being like, "Yo, you gotta sign Russ. Yo, you gotta sign Russ" to the owner and the GM, and then they asked Kawhi, and Kawhi was like, "Yeah, sure." Mad, nonchalant, what it
do, baby? What it do? Yeah, whatever.
Whatever y'all want to do.
Can we get Serge? Can we get Serge back too? But my thing is but also they've got him signed long term. He has no leverage over them, so they don't have to. But they do want him happy. You know what I mean? They don't want him playing with a guy he doesn't want to play with. But maybe he was if PG really wants him.
I feel like everybody knows that it's a 20-game experiment.
Yeah.
Because they could literally shut him down in the playoffs and just not play him at all, and all he got to do is sit there. You feel me? They can do that if you want. If it's really that toxic, they could do that because they have enough guys, not to win it, but they could do some damage.
Now on to the so that's the Russ topic. Now let's talk, because I've been listening to a lot of shows today, and it's gonna sound really weird coming from a Laker fan, but I really feel like the Celtics are being pretty disrespected in the last week or two, just from the simple fact that they've been pretty much from the beginning to the end. They're a little hiccup early in the season, but health wise and this and that. But
I feel like early they played good, but right after the early 21-3 type opening, they hit like a good 2 months of just struggle.
Well, it's just there's things that tie into that, yeah. But I mean, they've
been back though.
I feel like they're better than last year's team for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what people are like.
It's not even a question. This team is 11 deep. The last year's was 6.5, 7.5.
Well, I was that's what I'm trying to get. So I'm looking at I was trying to look at I was looking at them and like right now, like because it's like you got Denver top in the West, Boston top in the East, and I would take Boston over Denver right now. I would for my money.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, and I told you, I'm trying to think. Well, I'm like, okay, but you know, obviously, I'm not rooting for that. You know what I mean? But it's just, but it's to me, it's the eye test.
Fully healthy for sure. Yeah.
And then I start. We're like, well, it's a rookie coach. Well, they had that last year. They still got there. You know what I mean? So my thing is, so I started looking into some numbers, right? And it kind of it intrigued me. I think I told you this before, but typically a team that wins a chip, you got to be top 10 offense, top 10 defense, top 10 lowest turnovers, and you know, at least try to be top 10 3-point shooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look into that stuff, there's only 2 teams in the entire NBA that fit all 4 of those categories. And two teams surprised me. One team surprised me that they were one of the 2 teams, and one team surprised me that they weren't one of the 2 teams. And the fact that Denver is really is not one of those 2 teams, and the fact that Philly
they're high in one category and down.
But Philly is, and I'm like, and I don't want to trust them. Like we've talked about, I don't want to trust them because when they've got like a
habitual line steppers.
Yes, and I just like
all up and down the fucking roster.
But they just had a really good West Coast trip. Yeah, majorly the coach. A really good West Coast trip. I know they got waxed by you guys when you guys had like no team, you know, and you guys still beat them. But this is the best season they've had in a while.
They just can't beat the C's. They're not equipped. They haven't been equipped
matchups.
10 years. We destroy them. They have no wings, nobody that can guard Tatum, nobody that can guard Brown, and they just slaughter them.
Yeah, they can't do it. But like
they're not good at guarding the 3. So
they're having they're just having a really, really good year. And the only 2 teams in that category are the Celtics and the Sixers. And that tripped me out. I knew Boston.
I feel like I heard like the other day, like when it was like the last game before the break, that somebody had just cracked the 10, and I believe it was Denver on what is it, their defense that's lacking, and their offense is hot, right?
Yeah, their defense is lacking. They're the number 1 shooting 3-point team in the league. You know what I mean? The number 1 field goal percentage in the league.
Some team, I believe it was Denver, that had just cracked 10th, just percentage wise, right before the break. But you know, that shit changes, you know, because that day that was the last day wasn't the last day for everybody. You know, there were teams that played the next day, you know.
Yeah.
So that shit changes by the day.
Well, Denver offensively great. Number 1 in 3-point percentage, number 1 overall field goal percentage. But where they get into it is that their defensive rating is 13th. The offensive rating is 1.
Yeah. And then the C's are what, 2nd and 4th?
Yeah, they're the highest. And then Philly's, like I said, it's Philly and Boston. And again, the league is different now, so you can't go by pretty much what it was. But it typically was you had to be top 5, like offense, defense.
I know.
So I doubled that, you know, to kind of adjust for today's league.
I'll tell you what, I won't be surprised if Philly moves up into the 2nd spot because Giannis is going to be hurt.
But they haven't said how long he's going to be out, right? They haven't said that, right?
They said he's going to miss at least the next 2 games.
Okay. But I know they said he avoided like being gone for a while.
Yeah, right? they avoided like surgery and shit. But he got a sprain. So who knows? That shit could be a couple weeks. But there's definitely opportunity for Philly right now.
So my thing is
and Cleveland if they own their job.
I think Cleveland's a year early. I think they can win a round, but I don't.
This is what I think about them. They're matchup based, right? So like we don't match up good against them.
Yeah, that's true.
They're one of the teams that we don't match up good with, and the Bulls are another team that we don't match up good with because they got stretched, you know, big dudes and they got long fucking wings, and you know what I'm saying? So we don't match up good against those 2 teams in particular, and the Orlando Magic for sure.
Cleveland had, let me see, I know they've been the best defensive team in the league for most of the year.
As long as Cleveland gets in the games, if they get at least some type of home court advantage in some of these rounds, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, because that's playing in Cleveland when the playoffs are going on is not easy.
Yeah.
And Spider Mitchell goes bananas.
He plays well in the playoffs. Well, that's true. They're on the cusp. So look, when you're seeing about those categories that I mentioned, right? So let me just look at the turnovers. That's the only thing. So yeah, so they're right on the cusp. So I say top 10 of these 4 categories, which is offensive rating, defensive rating, lowest turnovers, and highest 3-point percentage, right? They're on the cusp. And they're number 1 in defense. So that kind of gives them a leg up there, right? So they're number 1 in defense. On offensive rating, they're right there. They just creeped into the top 10. So where they're out of that graph that I put together is the turnovers. And by 1. Because they're 11th, whereas Boston and Philly are top 10. They're 11th, but they've fallen off a little bit with 3-point percentage. Now they're 12th, so they're right on that cusp of being there with Boston and Philly. So they're right there.
They can make some noise, man. If they move up to like 3rd, they could definitely make some noise.
What's funny is where Milwaukee and Denver break all the rules here because they just. Milwaukee does not
defend the 3 at all.
Yeah, so Budenholzer, Budenholzer, that dude has always kind of been like that, right? He did that in Atlanta too. And like, well, we're gonna shoot it, but not guard it. So, but they're
so like we was killing them by dribble penetration kick, and it was a wide open 3.
Yeah,
and it was, and we was doing that with the bench guys and the 14th, 15th guy off the bench. So imagine with fucking Tatum drawing 2 and Brown drawing 2, forget it, dude.
But I'm looking at it like this. They shoot it. They shoot it at 35, and the opponent shoots it at 35. So
and they just added. They just added 2 guys. Who did they just add?
They added Crowder. And and they just got what's his name? The dude who got suspended, Miles Leonard, who's a stretch.
Miles Leonard. Yes. Okay. And that's it. That's what they got. I thought they got somebody else too.
Well, that was Indy. They traded Serge Ibaka, right? So they had gotten they had traded Serge. Give me 1 second, man. My dog is going ham on this water bottle right now. Hold on a second.
Yeah, man.
He is. Do you hear this shit?
Yeah.
This dude's making a beat in the background here. I'll be right back.
He's recycling.
No, she got it. Yeah, he's going ham on this water bottle. My bad. For anyone out there's got a puppy, you get it. There's no days off. There's no time off for these little shits. But yeah, so a lot of these teams are moving closer to those numbers, and I think when you get to the end of the season, I think when you look at those 4 categories, I think you're going to see teams. I think it's really going to like look at it. Then you just look at the matchups because that's what it's key. You're absolutely right about that. I often believe in matchups. So
what are the standings right now? In the East.
Quick. So if we're where we at? What is it? Not one of those standings. We get to this other side right quick. So I know it's Boston 1, Milwaukee 2, but I know that I've got it up right here. So Boston, Milwaukee, Philly is 3rd. But Philly's like 2.5 games back. Cleveland's 4th.
They're gonna catch up. They're gonna be in 2nd place.
So right now, Brooklyn is in
5th.
I know we talked before. I think Brooklyn can get around if the matchup goes their way because if they got
but they're only like a half game up or a game up.
Brooklyn is 2 games up on the Brooklyn is 5th. They're 2 games up on the Knicks. That's 6.
Okay, so
I would love to see a Boston Knicks series. Miami 7th, Atlanta 8th.
So who's 4th? Cleveland.
4th is Cleveland. They would play Brooklyn in the first round.
Okay, and then it's the Knicks.
And Knicks right now faces Philly if things hold pat. Miami would face Milwaukee. Well, no, we got playing starting with the 8, right? So Atlanta. No, 6. The 7 plays
7
too.
7.
Yeah. So 6. So the Knicks been on a good little. Let me see here. But see, Chicago. Looking right here, Chicago, right, is 2 games back at 10. I don't think. Yeah. Then it gets Indy's right there where Chicago is. Orlando. Yeah. So Toronto 10th. Yeah, so it more than likely
wants to play Toronto, especially they kept all their guys and they added fucking Pirtle.
Yeah.
And he had 30 the other day.
They're very well coached. They play hard, and if they're healthy,
nobody wants to play them. They're going to move up. They're going to move up.
I think the two teams, and not that I think that either one of these teams can win a championship by any means, but I think the two teams are Miami and Toronto. That teams that can annoy you in a playoff series. You know, if Jimmy gets going and their defense comes to play, you know,
the shit is if Miami plays fucking Milwaukee, it's a wrap.
Yeah, they have their number. They've been
they're just too big. Like Bam can't do nothing with Brook Lopez or Giannis.
They got him that year when Giannis was hurt, you know, in 2020. Which happens. Like
and they're gonna have Middleton. They're gonna have Middleton back, and Drew Holiday is gonna destroy whoever the point guard is. If it's fucking Kyle Lowry, if it's Kyle Lowry, see you later.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said, you don't get to the championship without some type of you have to be good and lucky, right? There's no team that won a ring without getting through a round where someone was hurt.
And now, like you said, they got Crowder and they got the Miles Leonard kid. They're not gonna be playing Grayson Allen that much. So yeah, that's gonna be tough for Miami if they get them.
But I think I liked Milwaukee's trade deadline better than the Celtics. But when the eye test and the stats, when you look at both, which I never look at one without the other, I you know me, I watch a lot of games. You know I'm a basketball nerd. Mm-hmm. So watching, and then sometimes when you go and look at the stats, like do these two things line up? Is what I'm watching really showing on paper? Or are these things really like not correlating, right? When you look at it, a lot of the times they match, right? They do match. But the Denver was the one that just like kind of like, you know, you look at them and it's just like, are they a beneficiary because they're, you know, Joker's just playing every night? You know what I mean? And maybe that's why he's leading the MVP race is because he's damn near averaging a triple-double and he's playing every night.
Homie's playing good.
He's great, man. He's great. He's great.
I'm not a but what's his name? Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near like a Joker basher, but my thing is like, is he really the level of a 3-time MVP? Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, has he really been the like? And I know they twist what an MVP really means. He's most valuable to his team, not the best player. I get that. But it's like, where would Philly be without Embiid?
I don't think. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean,
where would Milwaukee be without Giannis?
I seen that fake poll before the All-Star game.
Yeah, that poll that he does is a legit one. Like that one, pretty much.
Legit niggas. I know. But I was like, what? How? Because it was by far and away, and I'm like, there's no way it's by far and away. Because Luka's season's crazy before he got hurt. And Tatum's killing him. He just had a little low. But that's how it is. Like, if you have a little low, like, there's another dude coming through.
Yeah, but if you're going to reward Joker for having the top seed in the West, don't the Celtics have the best record in the league? You know what I mean?
For sure.
So that's what I'm saying.
I feel like I mean, the numbers don't lie, but I don't see, and it translates on the court because they got the number 1 seed.
What's dude's name is what? Bontemps, right? He's the one that does that straw poll, and that's like the most like legitimate one there is when it comes to like MVP polls. And like Joker's blowing everyone out the water. Like there's not even a close second.
I'm like, how was Tatum like 5th or 4th?
That's what I'm saying. Like there's not. It's and that's where like these. I don't know. Like and it's weird.
But you know what though? You know what's crazy is that yes, they did that before the All-Star game, right? But now I feel like this
Tatum went nuts.
Yeah, I feel like this All-Star game is gonna give some, you know, because these it's not like it matters, but these dudes like eat this shit up, like the people who vote and the writers and shit, like they eat this stuff up. So that's gonna have some leverage in his MVP status going forth in the next 23 games.
Yeah, it's just weird. You never have to back up like an East Coast person for MVP votes because it's usually East Coast bias is the narrative. But again, in a year where all these things are not going where you typically see them go, the MVP vote is another one because, like I said, I mean,
they're also gonna take points away from Luka because he got Kyrie now. Like shit's weird. Like,
but it's like there was a point there was a point in the league where it's like, how was LeBron not won like 6 straight MVPs? There was a point where it's like, how did you know what I mean? And it's like, it's almost we're at that point now with Giannis. Like, how is he not the most important to his team? The most valuable to his team?
I mean, but he's in the top 2 or 3 in the last like 5 seasons, like or 6.
No, I get it, but what I'm saying is, it's like they they tend to start punishing guys when they win back-to-back or win multiple, but they're not doing that to Joker. And that's what I'm saying. It's because typically they'll be like, okay, like Shaq and Kobe had 1 MVP each. How crazy is that? You know what I mean?
They also played in the era with fucking greats too, you know?
No, I get it. But again, even when Kobe, like without Shaq, like he got it in 2008 in a year he didn't even win the championship, right? Which I know they voted on prior to it. But what I'm saying is like that too, he was even better in 09 and 2010. You know what I mean? And that year, that 2007 and 2006, 2007, he was, I know they didn't win enough games, but he made it to the playoffs. Like there's no way in hell that team even sniffs a playoff game, let alone win without him taking this, Suns to a 3-1 lead. You know what I mean? So it's like, I guess I've never understood the voting for it because they punish these guys when they win too much. Like, not to say that Nash wasn't deserving of his credit, but like, he
won 2 or back-to-back.
He won two of them. But that Kyrie said when they went to his house, he goes, "Hey, show me where you have Kobe's MVP trophies." I was like, man, that's crazy.
Kobe was killing them those years.
Yeah, and
Nash just had an overall game, and his team was winning more.
No, his team was doing great. It was just not. He turned that whole franchise around. He was valuable to his team. Like I understand that, but my thing is just like, they start punishing guys.
Yeah, when they change the rules. They change the rules every year.
Yeah, and it's like not that Joker is not great and not that he's not deserving to be in a conversation, but that gap between him and everyone else, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not it. That's not it because that's a lie. Because I'm watching fucking Luka, I'm watching Tatum, I'm watching fucking Giannis, I'm watching Joker, and I'm like, yo, it's like every game is somebody's up.
Yo, if OKC makes the playoffs, not the play-in, but
SGA should be in the running.
That's what I'm saying. So
I mean, if Steph wasn't hurt, he'd be in the running. LeBron, if he wasn't hurt, he'd be in the running. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's averaging 30. You know what I mean? But they're like, 12, 13 seed. But again, the media does do that too. But so let's say, because see, this happened. Remember that year when the Lakers had Dwight and Nash, and they just started horribly. Nash broke his leg game 2. Dwight took forever to fit in. All this yada yada yada. After that All-Star break, the Lakers went ballistic. People don't remember. There was something like 22-4 or 24. Their record was crazy. Sorry, once again, puppy strikes. Their record was crazy. But then Kobe tears his Achilles, and the season's over. But had they gone into the playoffs that year, they would have been crazy in the playoffs that year because the role that they were on. So what if after these trades, what if the Lakers go on like some type of crazy run after these trades? And LeBron is still.
What's the numbers? They gotta go. People are projecting they need to go 14-9 to make
something
the
like that. Yeah,
to make the play-in or playoffs, something like that. They'd be 41 and 41.
Yeah, they were. They'd have to go. Yeah, something like that because they're 13th, I think, right now. But let's say of the 23 games left, let's say they do something crazy like let's just say, I'm not saying they're going to do it, right? Not or even that I would bet my money on this, but let's say they do something crazy like 18-5, like to finish the season. Let's say they finish 5th or 6th, right? And Bron is averaging 30, and this is a 23 game like push. You mean to tell me that dude who carried his team from 13th to 5th or 6th, averaging 30? Like, is that enough games? Because, you know what I mean? He's still averaging 30 right now for the season. You know what I mean?
I think other guys are going to have played more games and have done it for a longer time where he'll come up short. But it'll be like impressive. Like he might.
But if you go from see what I'm saying? Place. If you go from 13th to 5th or 6th in 23 games and you're the driving force, like, because you got to remember, he was the favorite to win that MVP in 2021, and then he hurt his ankle.
Yeah, you got it.
That was like, and so like, but there are guys like who will play less games that win MVPs. The only one is, and maybe that's why Joker's getting it, or he's that far ahead, is because of games
he plays more. He plays like every fucking game. He has stupid numbers every game, like crazy, man. He's just like a horse, like an ox,
No, I just hate how they kind of just change what the criteria is. Like I said, like I that's what I don't like. Just be consistent.
I mean, but real talk, in the last 4 years, I would have gave it to either one of those guys, either Giannis or him. and just so happens they won the last 8 or 4 of them, both of those guys.
Yeah, because Giannis won back to back, right? And then Joker won back to back, right?
Yeah, something like that, right?
And now Joker's, I think, right? Because Joker's about to be his third in a row, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's the only people who have that have titles. This nigga hasn't even played in the fucking finals.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. And again, I'm not
Bird,
Magic,
Kareem,
right?
And is it Magic?
I don't know if Magic even did it 3 straight.
I don't think it's Magic.
He's got Kareem, 5 MVPs,
Bird,
right?
And Wilt. No, okay, and Bill Russell. Bill Russell, Kareem, and Bird.
I was about to say all media darlings except for Kareem, but
I mean, still.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is like the dude. They always say, "Well, he didn't win. And you said it. Joker hasn't won. And my thing is, I don't want to
look that up. But I think I'm right. I think it's
let me check
Russell, Kareem, and Bird are the only 3 in a row. If not, it's Wilt, like I was saying. But
Larry Bird is
he got to win one for him to have 3, bro. Because that shit'll just be whack. Like, I think it'll water it down. You feel me?
Yeah. So it said to become the 4th player. So it's Wilt, Russell, Bird. That's it.
Wilt.
Not even Russell. Kareem. Not even Kareem.
Kareem won back to back. He didn't win 3.
Not even so. You mean to tell me that?
Not even Jordan, nigga.
This. Yes, that's what I was going to get to. This is the list that has never pulled this off. Jordan's never done it. Kareem's never done it. Magic Johnson's never done it. Shaquille O'Neal's never done it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Hakeem.
Kobe Bryant's never done it. Hakeem's never done it. Like
David Robinson never did it. Tim Duncan's
never done it. You know what I mean?
Dirk.
Like Karl Malone, second, the douchebag, was second at for many years, was a second leading scorer in like not even Steph.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Not even Steph, bro, who changed the game.
And not LeBron. So my thing is like
he got to win the championship. This is best. This is best. This is best odds. Can't wait till the C's crush them.
No, but I just like I said, and I think they would. My thing is this: like I don't want to be. I don't want to come off like I'm saying he's not worthy, because I think he's an incredible player. Incredible.
I love him. He's one of my. He's definitely in my top 5 favorite players. Maybe in my top 3 favorite players to watch.
He's really no drama unless you're one of the Morris brothers. But he's just like he is. and just don't mess with Serbs, bro.
Don't ever mess with them. Yo, bro, I did a show in Serbia with Fame from MOP and Term. Bro, there was no back room or back door entrance. So we had to walk through the club, bro. Dog, that shit was like WrestleMania. Like it was like packed. It was like packed with people, like sold out. We're walking through the crowd. They're patting us on the back. Hey, we love you all. These big ass rugby looking motherfuckers. Like, yo, next.
And you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing.
Level.
Yeah.
Yo, the dude was telling us. This is off subject, but this is a cool story. The guy who brought us there was like the booking like runner guy, right? He wasn't like the main promoter, but he was the runner, right? So he told us that before he was in charge of booking us, he had booked Curtis Blow at a concert in Serbia, right? And supposedly the dude who booked them didn't have all this dude's money, didn't have all of Curtis Blow's money. So the dude that was running us around, big ass dude, looked like he could play like offensive line, bro. He goes up, he tells the dude, guys, if you do not have all of Curtis Blow's money, I break all of you legs.
And he meant that shit too.
Oh, he meant it like a motherfucker. And then obviously dude had the dude's money and all that. But this, next level, huge ass, don't play with these guys type dudes.
Yeah. I've met a couple in my day, just not on their turf, but I've met a couple in my day, and they're different.
Yeah, they're different.
They're just different.
Dude drove us around. He was showing us in the projects. They still got all the bullet holes from the Serbian-Bosnian war and shit.
Yes, they're
on some other shit. Don't fuck with those guys.
They're the ones that are built different, not Braun and AD. But anyways,
right, for real. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my thing. So my thing was never about like bashing Joker because I think he's incredible. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. He's changed the game for bigs, almost like Steph.
He's gonna win more MVPs. He doesn't have to win this one. He can win more. That's how ill he is. Mad young, and his numbers and analytics are through the roof.
Yeah, my thing is this: and I get it. People, well, you can say, "What are you talking about? The criteria? He's averaging this. He's playing every game. Top team in the West." I get it. I understand all of that. My argument is: listen to the names that we mentioned who have never done this. Like, just listen to the names that have never done this, and like the fact that he is about to be potentially one of only 4 ever.
Yeah, and his defense is horrendous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so and they would discredit people for that. Yeah, they would discredit people for that.
Bird was locked down, but Bird was a way better defender than this dude.
Bird was a very good team defender, like very good team defender. Same as Magic, a very good team defender, not necessarily 1-on-1. Jordan,
they also had the most longest dudes of all time on their front court to help them.
No, I get it.
Both of them.
But again, just 5 names: Jordan, Magic, Kareem. You know what I mean? Shaq. LeBron, like those 5 have never done what Joker's potentially about to do. Like that's insane, and it's not Joker's fault; it's the voters' fault because they're changing the damn criteria. Yeah, and that's my beef. The man is absolutely the most valuable to his team, and he is an absolute slam dunk MVP candidate, MVP finalist. That's not what I'm trying to get at. My thing is just. I didn't even know this list going into. Now I'm like, we could do like a whole podcast on this. Like, I didn't even know like that he was about to be potentially the 4th person. That's bananas.
Yeah, come on, bro. You gotta be hip to these things. This shit.
No, but I should. I would know some shit like that. I would typically know shit like that, but that I didn't.
This next level was happening right now.
That's crazy.
That's why I want Tatum to blitz these next 20 games so he takes that shit. and we don't have to have these conversations.
And I'm telling you, Braun does some like 18 and 5 shit, and they go from 13th to 5th to 6th and are higher, man.
See, like right now,
and Tatum goes ballistic, and those votes come out, and there is the same as that straw poll, bro.
I'll tell you who got a good chance right now. The 2 guys who got a good chance to move up is Luka and Tatum, and then the guys.
LeBron, Embiid.
Yeah, LeBron, Embiid, Booker, things like that. KD. Those guys will be behind.
Was the last time someone won an MVP the year they got traded? Like, do they give that to people if you've been traded? I can't remember one off the top of my head.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know what happened.
Probably like a following year. I know Barkley got one in Phoenix.
But it was the off season. He got.
But I'm talking about trade deadline. Yeah, I'm talking trade deadline.
Trade deadline? No, I don't think so.
And one MVP. So I don't think KD can do it.
Usually MVPs don't get traded on the trade deadline, brother.
No, I know that. Unless it's a contract year, but they usually write it out because if you're good enough to be an MVP candidate, we're winning. Yeah, we're winning.
MVP candidate, bro? No, they're usually not on the end of their contracts or about to get traded.
But not even that. There could be a dude that got traded and just went ballistic and just changed that team's fortunes. I just can't think of one. You know what I mean? Like, because I've seen that before. Yeah, but that's not the year they went to the finals, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That was 93, right?
1993. But he got traded in the offseason.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about trade. Yeah, he had a full season. I'm talking about like trade. Like last time someone got. That's what I'm saying. I don't think KD has a chance. Because I can't remember.
There's never been a MVP candidate traded at the deadline because usually they're locked into their squads. You feel me?
Well, maybe they weren't an MVP candidate when they got traded. You know what I mean? Maybe if it was like trading. Like I said, I don't know. I'm talking because I can't think of it on the top of my head. But maybe there was a guy that was traded like a couple months into the season and then just took that team to somewhere and got it. Because I know Nash was a free agent and he got it. I think the first year.
Cowens when he won MVP, he was only. I forget how long Cowens was in Boston, but it didn't take him long to win the MVP. I think he got there and he won either the first year or the second year. But yeah, guys at the deadline, I've never heard of a person like that.
And Kareem, when Robinson and obviously I didn't watch them play, but when Kareem and Oscar got together, that was at the beginning of a season, not middle of a season.
Yeah, even Cowens, I wasn't alive for that, but I know he won MVP in like '79, and he had just got to the C's maybe a year prior or that same year.
Yeah, I just don't see. Yeah, so I don't think KD has a chance at it when we talk about.
I don't think KD got a shot, and I don't think Booker has a shot at it anymore because he missed too much time. But he was in the running, and I mean, I can't count Dame out at all, but he's not going to be in the top.
Nah, they're not. They're not.
Like, he'll be in the top 6 or 7 probably by then.
But if he's ahead of SGA, that's bananas. You get what I mean?
SGA is just next level, man.
Yeah, and because what he's doing is, I mean, you could argue that, and I know that, and I've been saying this for years before it became a popular topic, but you could argue that, like, OKC. I understand that the Clippers made that trade knowing that they weren't just getting Paul George, that they were also getting Kawhi Leonard, but OKC didn't care about that. They looked at it as what they got for Paul George, right? And that trade, when people talk about that Anthony Davis trade, like, I'll do that trade 10 times out of 10. At the time, I remember saying, like, dude, this, SGA is going to be a problem. Like, I think I looked at an old tweet I did. It was like the second year after that. Like, OKC already won this trade. You know what I mean? That was after, pandemic P and all that. But
yeah, like, real talk. If this shit don't work in the Clippers shit, that shit is an epic fail, and it's going to be a win for OKC for years to come. Same with Boston and Brooklyn.
Yeah, and it's not fun. See, and it's even worse than the Brooklyn thing because those guys were aging out. You know what I mean? Like, everyone knew, like those guys were aging out. That this what the Clippers did, like it's a bigger fail. I think it's more comparable to KD and Kyrie's Brooklyn tenure than it was like the C's trading with Brooklyn. You know what I mean?
At least with the Pelicans, they knew they were getting Ingram and they were gonna get Zion in the draft, and you know what I'm saying? They had a plan. With Clippers, if this shit don't work, I think they got rid of a shit ton of picks to get these guys.
They got rid of everything, everything, and SGA. You know what I mean? SGA. Yeah, so it was like, and I get why they did it. You know what I mean? I get why they did it. You had a chance. You weren't just getting Paul George. You were getting Kawhi Leonard. You were also keeping him from the Lakers. They're going to be very good. You know what I mean?
They're going to be good in the next like 2 years. They might make I don't know if they'll make the playoffs this year, but they're in the mix.
But they're going to have to trade for someone. They're not going to sign anybody. You know what I mean? They're going to have to make a trade. Like, it's going to have to be someone the next.
Nah, I think this is what I think they could do, right? If they get all their young guys, or they get Chet next year, and then they're good, and they're like Brooklyn was before they traded their guys to get KD and Kyrie, like 7th, 8th, like 7th, 6th team. They could attract someone, one, because they could trade a bunch of picks to get someone, and two, they could just kind of do it, like, because those are the kind of teams you need out west, is the ones that could do almost everything.
Yeah.
So if they got a deep right team, now. They can make some noise, but they definitely need a star to win shit,
Well, he's
SGA is a star. They already got their star.
Yeah.
They just need complimentary guys. Yo, if Chet comes around, and what's the other white kid? Gritty, that kid's nice.
Giddy, yeah, he's nice.
Or Giddy, he's nice.
Yeah, and all them Williams,
and all the two Williams dude, the long one. Oh no,
there's three of them. There's three of them.
He's in the Hornets. They got 3 of them.
Yeah, there's 3 Williams. Yeah, so it's like I remember when the Lakers played them, they had to start calling them like different names, like because they were all 3 on the court at the same time.
Same with the Hornets. They got 2 Williams, 2 dudes, 2 Williamsons, I think. So it was like Robert Williams, Grant Williams, something else Williams, and something Williamson, I think.
a ton of Williams in the NBA, but all right. Pretty much, I just wanted to touch on the Celtic part because I think like I said, a Laker fan defending the Celtics is a little odd, but from the basketball fan in me, I've watched, and you know me, I watch a lot of games. I don't just just see highlights on Twitter or anything. Like, I watch a lot of games and watching them play like that's why I said I enjoyed watching them kind of face off in the All-Star game. I'm like I said, I don't hate the Celtics. I hate losing to the Celtics. There's a difference. You know what I mean? There's a complete difference. You know what I mean? But it's like, I love watching.
It's just double slander because it's Lakers and LeBron.
No, yeah, I get that.
It looks like it's double.
I totally get that. Hence the bubble bashing, right? But my thing is, but my thing is, and let's not front. Like all of us were Braun fans before he became Lakers because I didn't hate him, but I wasn't rooting for dude. Yeah, and but he joined my team, so what am I gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, secondly, you gotta root for him. He's on the team, bro.
Yeah, and secondly,
bro, if he was in green, I'd be the ill LBJ nigga.
No, that's what I'm saying. And secondly, I just think rooting against a dude who's the best player on your team when you're trying to win is just mad corny to me. But
yeah, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, second is like the
for me. It just all worked together. It was just this is perfect.
Yeah, no, like me is like obviously you know me. I'm exactly. You're like the Birdman hands, right? Like just like perfect.
Yeah, I'm like yes.
Yeah, but me, you know me as far as being as big Kobe dude as you ever gonna meet in your life. Like I know everyone thinks they are, but trust me, you know what I mean. Like Kobe Bryant is a basketball god to me. There's just no else to me, right? And it's like, but at the same time, I didn't want to be that Kobe guy who couldn't accept Braun because we're gonna look back. I always hated guys that said you're gonna appreciate. Part of it pissed me off is when he passed. Like you had all these like dudes who like acted like they loved him his whole career. Now they kind of felt bad about it, or they want to speak on his greatness. Now you had a chance to observe and watch. Root against him, I get it. That's cool in the speed of competition. But there's gonna be a point where, damn, like you got to watch this all-time great play on a nightly basis. You know what I mean? Yep. And that's where we are with Braun. And it's like there's gonna be a time where dudes look back, you know, and they're gonna be like damn, but like there are dudes who have like major platform, like look at like the Skip Baylesses, these dudes who spend their entire career just bashing Braun. You know what I mean? Like he's that big that dudes who dislike him and the base that dislikes him, that's the whole market, right? So it's like I don't want to be that Kobe fan that never appreciated Braun's greatness. Like I said, I did not root for him in Cleveland. I did not root for him in Miami. But I appreciate his greatness. You know what I mean? And as with anything, as with anyone that I've ever rooted like against, and Tim Duncan and all those years with Kobe and Shaq or just Kobe at him, like I did not root for him, but I respected and appreciated his greatness. So it's like there's a complete difference of hating someone or hating losing to them. I don't hate a single team in the NBA. I don't hate a single player in the NBA. I hate losing to certain teams, and I hate playing against certain players or losing to certain players. That's it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But anyways, all right. This been a good one. You know, I know we kind of threw this together last minute, so I appreciate you making some time.
For sure, bro.
And we'll get back at games. I think get started up. I know the Lakers play the Warriors on Thursday. I think everyone else got like a week break too, right? So I think games come back on Thursday. And I think TNT goes back to regular Thursday, right?
I think we come back. We come back Wednesday. I think we come back Wednesday.
So ESPN probably. So I think you start to see the normal NBA like national TV. I think TNT is going to be bigger on Thursday again now without football, right? Now it's going to be the post NFL. The post NFL LeBronathon is front and center. So get ready to all this purple and gold all over your TVs.
If they start moving up, they'll get a lot of their games flexed. I mean, they've already
got them scheduled anyways. Yeah, they've already got them scheduled because again, every year the post NFL LeBronathon is every year. They always pack, no matter what team he's on, they always pack him every national, like 90% of national TV games from now on and the rest of the year is going to be Lakers because they've always done that with LeBron post NFL. So they even moved like TNT from Thursday to Tuesday until after the NFL season. And now it'll be Thursday, it'll be popping again. And Saturdays, you know, just for that. So we'll be talking later in the week, this weekend, whatever it is, we'll get up and we're going to get a little bit more consistent with this. And, you know, keep it going. DJ, I see you in here.
Yes, sir.
Lakers in 5, DJ Deadeye. Lakers in 5, I see you, man. And, but we're going to get out of here. Appreciate everyone that tuned in. Appreciate the support. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Deadeye, I appreciate you, man.
Peace.